So I wanted to do another video kind of in the style of that one I did about my WoW TCG collection, but this time it's a little bit, well, not bigger because I have a lot of WoW TCG cards, but this got a little bit more variety in it, and just cut straight to the chase since it's going to be in the video title. This is going to be my Godzilla collection, and start off, I've got this fantastic styrofoam head. I've got this fantastic Godzilla mask that I think I bought it on Amazon 3 or 4 years ago now. I think it's based on the Godzilla Rides Again costume because of these thick, like eyebrows he's got. They're, ridges. Yeah, eyebrows. It doesn't fit well. It's very awkward when you actually put it on, and I'm not going to do it now. But to see, there's a little hole in his mouth here, which when you put it on, it kind of stretches the mask out to one side or the other. Maybe I just have a big head, but when the mouth changes, like, if the mask stretches one way or the other, the mouth kind of closes off, and then you're just blind. And to breathe, there's this little hole in his neck. So Godzilla's a smoker, but it looks cool. It's goofy. It's fun. I like it a lot. I wish I had more, use for it, more reason to use it for stuff. But that's kind of the big thing to show off is the mask. I love that mask. I'm gonna put it on the floor because we got other stuff here. So, start with the movies, because Godzilla's a film series. On VHS, I've got... Go oldest to newest, I guess. This copy of Godzilla vs. Mothra, which has a cute little sticker on it there. Godzilla stomping approval. That's a real sticker on the VHS tape. It's cute. This is probably my favorite box of any Godzilla tape I have, because these few I've got over here, I'll show you in a minute, are all from one cohesive set, and it's okay. But this one's really, like, that's some fantastic artwork of Godzilla there. And Mothra. And this is what, 64. I wanted to say 63, but so that's the original Godzilla vs. Mothra. Then I've got Godzilla vs. Monster Zero here. This one looks like it was in a video store. The very sun-faded cover, especially when you compare it to the colors on the back. Does this have a... Yeah. To play is human, to rewind is divine. Rated G. That's fun. It's pretty bland packaging, but it's a good movie. I love that Blockbuster sticker. So we get into the bulk of the VHSs over here. These are all from one set. As you can see, it makes up a picture of Godzilla on the side. So that's pretty cool, right? So I've got 2 copies of Godzilla 1985 here, which I thought was pretty neat because when I got them at a thrift store, Value Village, as if it matters. I was, after hearing that Godzilla 1985 was rare, hard to get a hold of and everything, but that's the original, not American edited version, because this is the American edit, and it has the character of Steve Martin from the American re-edit of the original Godzilla returning, which he's featured on the back. I can't remember the actor's name. Raymond Burr. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. 2 of those because they were both there and whatnot. This one here, Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster, is quite possibly the worst Godzilla movie I've ever seen. It's no Godzilla's Revenge, but, man, it's some shit. Ebirah is a really cool monster, and the final, like, the showdown, the confrontation between Ebirah and Godzilla, they're, like, playing volleyball with this boulder, and there's these stupid sound effects, and it's the same footage played multiple times over and over, like, oh. Yeah, that one's bad. And this one here, when I bought it, Godzilla vs. Gigan, I just bought it off the shelf at, again, Value Village. But you open it up, and be a friend, rewind when you reach the end. It is not Godzilla vs. Gigan, it is actually my favorite Godzilla movie, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla in 1974. The shining pinnacle, the crown jewel of the Showa era. Oh, it's such a good movie. I'm not prepared to explain what a fantastic movie Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 1974 is. I would recommend it to anyone. I would recommend it to the stuffiest of stuffy assholes. Fantastic. Get these VHS tapes out of the way. Moving on to a different genre. I just realized I didn't bring out something that I wanted to show off. I'll go get it when I get there. So moving on to a different format, we've got DVDs, the next step, and with DVDs I have my Criterion Collection edition of the original Godzilla 1954. It has the American version and the original unedited Japanese version. It's a really fucking cool box, I gotta say. And then you get the slipcover, and this looks like something from out of Godzilla 2000 with Godzilla in the water here, which is cool. It comes with this little leaflet, little booklet. It's got, you know, the kaiju for Godzilla on the back and on the front, and leafing through it, just some stuff about the movie, and it's very well presented. What you would expect from the Criterion Collection. And when you open the sleeve, it's on 2 discs, and the leaf is a little pop out of Godzilla, and that's based on that's based on the Godzilla 2000 design, which not my favorite appearance of the guy. Oh, I just realized the back has his back spines on it. It's not just, that's fantastic. Can't believe I never noticed that before. So that's really cool. I do not have the entire film series. I'll just get that out of the way up front. Put you there, we'll put these there. So the next 3 major ones. Ooh, that was the power flickering. Big storm going on outside right now. So then we've got Godzilla vs. Gigan, which I've had to have after having the VHS box for it, but not having the actual film. Gigan's a cool monster. This movie is not good. It's kind of plodding and slow, and this is the one with the amusement park, like Godzilla Land, with the big stupid Godzilla-shaped building and everything. And it's got Godzilla and Anguirus talking to one another, and it's kind of awful. But the monster fights are cool. I mean, it's right on the poster. King Ghidorah shows up, and then you've got Anguirus and Gigan. It's a good movie. Not the best Showa, definitely not the worst. And then I'll talk about this one next because it's got a cooler box. Story on Monsters, which is the... I've heard of this talked about like a bookend to the original of like the first half of the Showa era. I should have looked that up before I opened my fucking mouth about it. But it's got a massive list of monsters appearing, and they have a great big punch up. It's pretty cool. The only thing that bothers me about it is that, like, as a film, and this is a pretty stupid complaint, is Mothra is in it in her larval form, the little, you know, larva that shoots the web. It never shows up as full-grown Mothra. And then another gem from the Showa era is Godzilla vs. Hedorah, Godzilla vs. the Smog Monster. This one is delightful in how goofy it is. I never showed any of the discs. The versus Gigan is styled the same as this. It's all, again, it's from like this budget line that they had at Kraken releasing at Walmart. I think it was $5. All over that. All over it. It was when Godzilla 2014 came out. They released a whole bunch of them. But it's got these kind of surrealist, fantastic animated segments, and the movie opens up with some kid playing with a Godzilla toy on a slide. That's a joy. I do have a copy of Godzilla 2014 here, but before that, I had this copy of Godzilla the series, the Monster Wars trilogy, which is just 3 episodes of the 90s cartoon series based on the Roland Emmerich Godzilla 1998, sorry. When did this come out? 2004. Okay, 1999. Yeah, I was going to say that TV series was not running in 04. But, so it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cheap design DVD. It's got the cheap, shitty case. And, so this is pretty much the 3 best episodes of that TV show. A lot of people talk about the show like it's kind of an unappreciated gem, and kind of like almost how good the show is makes up for how bad the movie was. Not true. And moving on to the rest of the series, I found this at Michael's, the art supply store. Godzilla the series. I believe I also paid $5 for this, and it's, you know, all 40 episodes of the show. I mean, I watched them. It was okay. It's kind of just a, you know, run-of-the-mill 90s cartoon series. The budget was not great. It's weird. Godzilla is like almost like a pet dog to these characters. It's whatever. I could take it or leave it. And then we get to the latest American release, Godzilla 2014. Bafflingly shitty, like, case, like, design. Like, that is such an awful... It looks so cheap and shitty. Especially with the stupid fucking yellow banner up here, like, bonus feature. Yeah. Like, the poster, I feel, was a lot cooler than this. And you could have, like, with Godzilla, like, looking over his shoulder almost, and all this, you know, dorsal fins, or spines, or whatever the fuck they are in this movie. I went to see this movie in theaters 3 times, I think. I was so excited when it happened. Because I saw Pacific Rim. I also got Pacific. Very professional. Very, very professional. I'm not going to show you that one yet. Because I had seen Pacific Rim, I think, the year before, 2 years before? 2013, yeah, the year before. And this was chewed on by my friend's dog. After I loaned it to her, I was very happy about that. And Pacific Rim, there's a lot of conflicting opinions on Pacific Rim, and I don't think it's a masterpiece by any means, but it was entertaining to me. I'm not excited about the sequel at all. I think it looks cheap and shitty. I'll probably see it through less than legal means, in unscrupulous ways. So then Godzilla 2014 came around, and I was just so excited. And like, there is way too much with the American actor, Kick-Ass, whatever the fuck his name is. And it feels very plotting and slow. But what really irked me about it was how they would continually build up to this appearance of Godzilla, and then cut away and give you like no payoff. But when it finally did give you the payoff at the end, it was what I wanted. I wish it had come sooner, but it was what I wanted. So the next thing along, I suppose, would be Godzilla the game for PS4. Become King of the Monsters, it says. This game got shit on pretty hard, and I think it's alright. It's a little repetitive, but it was fun. For me, anyways. Like, it features all of the monsters. Everything looks fantastic. The bulk of the gameplay, you're playing as, you know, Godzilla, just destroying cities and shit, and it got a little obnoxious with the time constraints in these missions where you had to... I mean, the majority of the game is just... I mean, all of the game, basically. Destroying reactors and fighting monsters in a city. And it became very obnoxious with its, like, tight time limits. But, I feel like it would have been better received if it wasn't an $80 release, because that's how much it was here when it came out. And, like, you know, Canadian dollar being what it is, in America it was probably $60. $80. Kind of wish it had been closer to 40. And then the last up, is Shin Godzilla. Godzilla Resurgence, the title that it never, ever, ever got. So this is a Funimation release of the 2016 new Japanese Godzilla movie. It's a really slick release, pretty limited on bonus features. I think the only bonus feature is like the trailer. Yeah. Which sucked. But I was very excited for this because there was only three theatrical showings for Shin Godzilla in Canada, and the closest one was in Montreal. And I live in Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, which is a long way away from Montreal, and I was not going to get the time off work to drive to Montreal to watch a movie. This movie's fantastic. I don't think I've ever read anybody saying a bad thing about it, but if they did, they're retarded, because this movie's great. So that concludes my collection of Godzilla movies. We'll get on to the rest of the collection now, I suppose. For a long while there... I'll leave that there. It's out of frame. For a long while there, I was collecting Godzilla comic books. I was big into comics for 2 or 3 years, and I ended up getting rid of most of them, unfortunately, but I do still have some trades here. I read the entirety of Godzilla Rulers of Earth, which is, I've got the first 2 volumes of in trade. The rest of it I had in floppies that I got as the series came out, and I got rid of all my floppies. So, I ended up buying, but I had bought these 2 volumes to be able to read all the issues that I had missed up to that point. The artwork's fantastic. The scope, like the amount of characters that I think it was 24 issues, something along those lines, 24, 25 issues. The breadth of the amount of the Godzilla universe that he managed to cover in that time is absolutely fantastic. These are a joy to read. The artist's name, the writer is Chris Mowry, and the artist Matt Frank, and I believe his handle on Tumblr is SpankZilla85. Fantastic artist. Absolutely phenomenal. Moving on from there, following Godzilla Rulers of Earth, and I know before Rulers of Earth there had been 2 or 3, I believe the publisher is IDW Godzilla comic runs, and I hadn't read those. I started reading with Rulers of Earth. After Rulers of Earth ended, it seemed like they didn't want to do another long-running series of Godzilla comics, and they went into a number of miniseries. The first one, I believe, was called Godzilla Cataclysm, World of Warcraft Cataclysm, which was a 5-issue miniseries, and it was much darker. Rulers of Earth isn't campy in tone, but it's not grim. Well, I guess it is kind of campy in tone. Whatever, it's fun. Godzilla Cataclysm takes it very seriously, and it was... all I remember from that run was that it was red. Everything about it was red, and there was this dying old man, and it was not a lot of... it was not light. And from there, from Cataclysm, I think it went straight into this one. Or maybe there was one in between. The last one I had was Godzilla Oblivion, which was such shit. The art was terrible, the writing was horrible. Bad. But the one I have here is Godzilla in Hell, which is one of the most enjoyable things I've ever read. It basically is, it opens with Godzilla falling into hell, and then I believe it was a 5-issue miniseries, every issue is him ascending to a new layer of hell. And it's fantastic. Nope, that's a lie. The last Godzilla miniseries I read was Godzilla Through Time? Something Through Time. And it was Godzilla in different eras. And there was that was good. I recommend that one. But yeah, Godzilla in Hell. Art-wise, it's beautiful. It's a fucking beautiful comic. Real work of art. Different artists on different issues, but visually stunning. And just a lot of fun in general. The ending is fantastic, and I'm not going to spoil it because I really recommend you look into getting it. Very, very good. Yeah. And then the last trade I've got here is Godzilla Age of Monsters. And this is kind of a compilation of a number of different Godzilla graphic novels, I believe. Yeah. First one's called Age of Monsters. Second, Thunder in the Past. Godzilla vs. Gekaido Jin. Things that you've never read aloud before. Blast from the Past and Dramatization. Oh, Property Damage, Long Live the King, Godzilla vs. Bagora, Godzilla vs. Hero Zero, and Godzilla's Day. So you're getting 8 stories. And this was $25 when I bought it. And it's good. I mean, some stories are better than others, but it scratches the itch for a couple of one-off stories. The last one is like a very comical depiction, very unserious, very light. But that's comics. So where do we go beyond comics? We get into the embarrassing plastic shit. So we'll start at the oldest. This is a 1985 Godzilla figure that I got from a friend of mine in the United Kingdom. He shipped it to me after, basically he showed it to me one time and I was like, oh man, that's really cool. And he was like, well, do you want it? And I was like, yeah. And he shipped it to me for free. What a champion he is. This is definitely, like, just to look at it, it's a very old style Godzilla figure. There's very limited articulation. The legs kind of move, but I don't really want to because I feel like they're going to break. One of the arms is broken. Something else broken on it. I'm pretty sure there's a crack in the plastic somewhere, but one of the arms kind of like feels like it's about to, yeah, that's it. There's only one spot where it'll like stay still and the rest of it just flops all over. This one's got proper articulation. But again, it's very fragile. It's pretty old and cheap, but that's cool. It's reminiscent of the Showa era figures, which is neat. Then this one's from another friend of mine, Katie, who, this is a Heisei era figure. And since that one was made in 85, I'm assuming this one was made in the 90s at some point. And I believe she found this in her father's collection, let's say. And we went, I met with her, I went to PAX in 2013? A couple years ago. I went to PAX in Boston, and she gave it to me there, to which I'm eternally thankful. It doesn't have any articulation whatsoever. It's just a solid lung figure statue. But it's really cool. This is the only Heisei era figure I have. So, thank you, Katie. Then, I don't know if I should go about these in scale or what. This is, I'll go with this one. We'll go with chronologically. This is based on Godzilla's appearance in Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah Giant Monsters All Out Attack. This was, I think, about $60. And it's definitely the most elaborate figure I have. I was disappointed by the level of articulation in this thing. Like, you can move the tail around a bit, which is cool, but it feels like it's going to break when you do. Because, like, I want to be able to stand him up further, and you simply cannot. His head doesn't turn a whole lot, though it does. His body feels very loose. Like, the level of... It's cool that it's articulated, that you can turn him like this, but this feels like it's going to break. His arms kind of suck for articulation. You can move his wrists, but it's very, very limited. Very limited. It's really just something, like, it's not a play toy. Like, these are toys for children. This is like an adult collector thing. It's pretty sick, though. I love Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, so I saw this and I was like, oh, well, I gotta have that. Gotta have it. I'll go with this one next. My friend Sarah sent me this for Christmas a couple of years ago, and it's got hair on it. I don't know what year this is. This is 2013, and it is My First Godzilla plush from Toy Vault Inc. It's Godzilla. He's got this little bus. I almost wish he didn't have, or it's a train car, I should say. And he's like, you know, taking a chomp out of the train car. This is loose, but his two hands are connected to it, and so it meets up in the center. It's got 3 full rows of dorsal fins, little fin spikes at the top. He's got little ears. It's cute, and it's nice. And I don't really sleep with a stuffed toy, but, oh, that's one thing. his leg is like pinned to one side, or his tail is pinned to one of the legs, so it doesn't just come straight down, so it's almost like lays flatter, so that you can cuddle with it. Thank you, Sarah. And then we're getting to the end now. This is my biggest Godzilla figure, and it is based on his appearance in Godzilla Final Wars. This is kind of like the iconic. This is Godzilla as the general public thinks of him. It's the tail unarticulated, the legs move, the arms move. They do not move at the elbow, simply at the shoulder, so you can kind of like go like this, and then he's a dancing man. Limited articulation of the neck. Head doesn't move separately, but it's a really cool toy, and it's like light enough that you don't feel like you're gonna bust it all up. It's fun. I like this one a lot. It's a little dusty looking. Could probably wash it off. I've had it for a couple of years now. And then to pair with that, I have Kiryu, 3rd generation Mechagodzilla. This guy has like no articulation. It looks like he would be articulated at the arms and legs like Godzilla is. He is not, nor is he at the neck. I have always I said earlier that Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla in 1974 is my favorite Godzilla movie, and I really do like the Heisei and Millennium era Mechagodzillas. The Millennium era looks cooler than the Heisei Mechagodzilla, so I'm glad that this is the Mechagodzilla I have, but I would really like to get a Showa era Mechagodzilla toy. I'm not really in the position financially or mentally to be buying more figures, but I really wish this was the 1974 one. Showa Mechagodzilla is just cooler. And like this guy's awesome, don't get me wrong. But there's something about the original boxy design that really appeals to me. I really do like the original Mechagodzilla the best. Funny story about these two. I received these from my local comic book shop, the local NPC in Sydney, Nova Scotia. Look them up on Facebook. Send them up, hit them up with a like. But I ordered those from the local NPC, and when ordering them in, basically what you do is he contacts his distributor and he orders a box of the figures from the set, right? Because it's like these two toys are one set. So you have to make an order of the set. And what he got was one Mechagodzilla and I think 11 regular Godzillas. And this Godzilla in the box had his tail off. Every other single Godzilla was broken. No, there was 3 not broken. This one and 2 others. No, all the others were broken, and he put 2 more together out of all the broken pieces. So he ordered a dozen of these toys, and these were the only 2 that made it through shipping without getting fucking destroyed. So thank you very much to Ed. I am eternally grateful for your inconvenience. So that's Godzilla. That's my Godzilla collection. But beyond Godzilla, there's another kaiju monster that I am hugely affectionate to, and you probably don't need to guess what it is. Just going off my YouTube channel name. So we're going to do a little bit of talking about Gamera. I have the entire Gamera film series, and I have it in 3 different sets. This is a cheapo Walmart value bin release of 6 of the Showa era Godzilla movies. The Godfather of movie monsters. It's called The Godfather. Eat your heart out, Francis Ford Coppola. So this is the War of the Monsters collection. It does not have all of the Showa era movies. I think it's missing. It's missing Godzilla vs. Virus and Godzilla Space Super Monster, the 1981. Yeah, 1980. I said that right. And these are all incredibly low transfers. I think they're like VHS transfers. Like, it's pretty ugly. And it's weird because it lists them all under their American release names instead of, I don't know if it's going to focus on that, instead of their actual titles. So it's Gamera with 2 M's, The Invincible, War of the Monsters, Return of the Giant Monsters, Destroy All. Destroy All Planets, Attack of the Monsters, and then finally Gamera versus Monster X. So that was my initial means of watching the Gamera series. Eventually, I found this on eBay, which is the Gamera Legacy Collection. Over 16 hours of fire-breathing action. These are a higher quality transfer. They're actual like DVD quality as opposed to VHS quality. There's not a whole lot in the way. I shouldn't say that. There's nothing in the way of special features, but it has the entire Showa era film series as well as the 90s trilogy, which I was really looking to get my hands on. So you've got Gamera the Giant Monster, Gamera versus Baragon, Gamera versus Ghost versus Virus versus Giron versus Chiger versus Zigra. Did I say versus Virus? That's also one. And then Gamera Super Monster, which is a movie made almost entirely of stock footage and like 2 new shots of Gamera based on a new model, and they're fucking terrible. It's also got footage ripped from Star Wars and some anime. Weird movie. And then the 90s trilogy, Gamera Guardian of the Universe, Gamera 2 Attack of Legion, Gamera 3 Revenge of Iris. I think Gamera Guardian of the Universe is the best of the Heisei era of the trilogy. But a lot of people think the second one is. It's a taste thing. Yeah. So that was cool to finally get my hands on this. And I just realized I said I have the entire series. I do not have a copy of 2006's Gamera the Brave. But moving up in the world from a DVD copy, I eventually came to acquire a PlayStation 4, which led to another thing. Gamera, the Showa and Heisei collection. This is a Blu-ray link. I think these were actually released separately. This is just in one box. But this is the entire series in the same way that the Gamera Legacy collection was. And it's strange because like the Heisei or the Showa series is broken up onto 2 discs. This irritates the shit out of me. The first one's just a normal disc. It's nothing special. There's no leaflet or anything. The second one has this stupid gatefold before you can open it, like what DVDs had at the turn of the century. Why? Why? Click, click, click. Why? It drives me nuts. And oh yes, the rest of them all have that. So the only one that doesn't have it is the first 4 Gamera movies. Awesome. Awesome. So then, Gamera Guardian of the Universe and Attack of Legion are on a double feature disc here, which that is a shit cover. May I just say that is in no way a flattering picture whatsoever. The back is pretty cool. It's got a cool screen cap. There's Gauss from Guardian of the Universe, and then I'm pretty sure that's how Gamera looked in the second one, Attack of Legion, and then there's Legion on the side. And again, it's got this stupid fucking case on it. There you go. I don't think there's any special features on here either. There isn't. And the third Gamera Revenge of Iris is the only one with its own disc. This one does have some special features, deleted scenes, camera test special effects, creating the monsters, Waking of Iris, theatrical trailers. So this one's pretty sick. I kind of wish that they all had this sort of thing. I understand not having it for the Showa movies, but the 90s movies, it would be cool if both of these had their own discs with their own special features and everything. And so that's Gamera. All this real slick box. Real slick packaging. And this was sent to me as a Christmas gift from my friend Josh. So thank you, Josh. Got him a lot of shoutouts in this whole pile of things. And then for Gamera, I went into my way. I ordered a Gamera figure off of eBay. This is, I think, based on the Showa design. What's the year on the bottom? 2005, this was released. It doesn't resemble the 90s Gamera whatsoever. It's very Showa. But if you look up, there's other figures of the Showa era Gamera, and they all look way, 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 way worse than this. I can't remember, I think I paid like $15 for this. It came shipped from Japan. It was pretty cool. It was wrapped in bubble wrap, came in an envelope. But made the trip. Limited articulation, you can spin his tail around. You can move his legs like this, which is really useful. His arms do go up and down, though. I kind of wish that he was articulated in such a way that you can make him stand like that, like how he was in the original Gamera, the Invincible. Actually, I think he stands like that in a couple of the movies. What the fuck's playing music that, man? Stupid fucking... This toy clearly sat around in the sun a lot. You can really see on the legs how it's, the plastic is faded on anywhere the sun hits. But this is the thing that sits on my desk. This is my prize out of this whole toy collection. Not to downplay how cool any of these are, but I really, really like Gamera. The films, like, I think I talked more about the Godzilla films than I did the Gamera films. The Showa era, it has a lot of kids in it. That's Gamera's thing, friend of all children before his thing became Guardian of the Universe in the 90s. And so there's a lot of kid actors, and it gets a little annoying at times. But the monsters that Gamera fights, and the fights between Gamera and his opponents are so entertaining in a way that the better Godzilla Showa era movies are, like Gamera or Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, or things like that. I cannot recommend these films enough. I cannot recommend. If you want to give Gamera a chance, watch Gamera versus Giron, where he fights a guy who has like a giant knife for a face. Great. Fantastic movies. And the last thing I have to show before I wrap this all up is in the world of kaiju, I really like Godzilla, I really like Gamera, but I also watch a little bit of tokusatsu, and I'm kind of an Ultraman guy, but I was on a Kamen Rider kick for a while, and so I got this figure of the original Kamen Rider. It's more of a statue. The only articulation are his arms like this. So it's kind of like when he's jumping, it's like, "To!" But it's really fantastically molded. It looks good on a shelf. It looks like he's got a boner. I don't know if you can see like how much strain there is on his fucking track pants there, but it's like, damn Kamen Rider. Also that kind of bubble butt. Anyways, so that's all my kaiju shit. I really enjoy this stuff, and I'm glad to have shared it. Yeah. Thanks for watching. More things I forgot. As I was putting everything away, I realized these guys I had on the table, this stuff over on the shelf, totally forgot about. So when Godzilla 2014 came out, Target had recently opened in Canada, and it's since closed. It was a big failure of them moving into Canada. But at the time, all of the Godzilla 2014 merchandise was available through Target. And I have a bit of a collection of Godzilla figures, so I went to try and get a Godzilla 2014 designed Godzilla figure. I went in, and all of the 12 to 16 inch figures I thought looked really cheap. Like cheap plastic, poorly textured, poorly painted. Ugly. But what I did like were these little chibi figures. And there was 2 sets of these, Godzilla and Muto, in different poses. And I went with this set because I liked the pose on Godzilla better. It's, the paint's alright. It's just like one solid lump of plastic, obviously. But I think it's pretty damn cute. And Muto, I'm not a big fan of the design of Muto here. Like, of Muto in general. I thought it was cool that they had an original monster for the 2014 movie, but he's forgettable. But I'm pretty sure this is the male one. The male one had wings, right? And the female one looked more like a big silverback gorilla. Anyway, so I forgot these. Well, that's cool. I have this, which I can't remember if in 2014 Empire Theaters had closed and like sold out to Cineplex or not, or if Cineplex was, you know, open. But this is the popcorn bag, and I didn't get this when I went to see Godzilla. I got this when I went to see like whatever movie I had seen just before Godzilla came out. So I still have this. I folded it up, stuck it somewhere. Found it again recently. That's neat. Like this, when I was talking about the box design for the cover, the case for the Godzilla 2014 DVD, it's like, why wouldn't you make this the case? Like, that's way cooler looking. Like, obviously, it's, you know, it only hints at Godzilla, but the other one looks so fucking cheap and ugly. Then I've got these two zines that were published by Hamish Steele, who formerly ran the Kaijusaurus Tumblr account. He's kind of like which is, and he was the figurehead for the Kaiju fandom on Tumblr. And it's basically a little book of Godzilla and Gamera fan art. So Godzilla and Gamera versus Zinra. Shit names, but pretty cool. It's got a lot of neat fan art and such. A lot of different styles and I mean, qualitatively, like, but it's all good. And this one, and I didn't show the cover. It's pretty cool cover. I think the cover was designed by Hamish Steele himself. And it ends. I think that was the power flicker. Big storm going on, as I mentioned. It ends with like the cheapest, shittiest, laziest sketch of Godzilla by the film director Gareth Edwards, which is cool. It's a nice touch. It's fun. And this was published on the 60th anniversary of Godzilla, and I'm pretty sure the Gamera one was published on the 50th anniversary of Gamera. I think that was the occasion marking why he did this one. But this, I really like the cover for this one. Like this, like it doesn't show all of Gamera's head and everything, but it's really cool. And then on the back, you got, you know, you got that alien ship from, I think that was from Virus. Yeah, because that's, well, Virus is there, and then that's the ship from Virus too. And Gauss from the 95 movie, and then Giron, and I love Giron. This one doesn't have like a cool bookender like the Gareth Edwards drawing. It opens and ends with little comics. This one by Hamish Steele, which is very Gamera the Brave-esque. And then another one by, I don't know the artist's name, Elise Coleman. No, not Elise Coleman. She did the final picture, not the comic. Frankie B. Washington. Which is very striking and cool. And my favorite picture, I think, in the entire book, I'll show you if I can find it, is this underwater picture of Gamera and Virus. I'm pretty sure you can find almost all of this art online, but I like to have things on my shelf. What can I say? So these are both very cool. I'm not sure that you can get either of these anymore. This one was done with Kickstarter, and I think this one had a Kickstarter, but it failed, but he released it in very limited quantities anyways, so I jumped on it when it was available. And the last thing, the very last thing, I promise this time, is not Godzilla or Gamera related. I was turned on to this by my friend Maddie during its initial run, and it's called Kaiju Max by Xander Cannon. These are the trades. I was picking them up in floppies as they originally came out, but again, I got rid of all my floppies and went the trade paperback road. And it's about a prison island where it's like a prison story about like convicts, but they're all giant monsters. And the prison guards are like tokusatsu, like Super Sentai almost. Big robot suits that like shrinking. Like the design for them is very Ultraman-like, but they're color-coded and there's teams of them, which is very Super Sentai. And I've got the trades for the first two seasons because it's like a TV show, right? And I think the third run is currently ongoing, so I'm very, very much looking forward to when that trade drops and give it a read. I'm pretty sure that these have been like met with critical acclaim, but I cannot recommend them enough. It's very cutesy art design. I don't want to flip into it in case, you know, spoilers. But, like, the drawings are very, very cute looking, and the subject matter is giant monsters. So it appears very kiddie, but it's very dark in tone, and the juxtaposition is fantastic. Cannot recommend enough. Both, like, there's no drop off in quality between the first and second run, and I assume that the third run is just as good. Read these. Really, really good. And with that, I really hope that's everything, because if I'm forgetting something else, I'm not making another one of these videos. Yeah. Thank you again for watching.